Tonight we're going to party like it's 1999 right here in this special episode. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. We're going to talk about Prince. No, not exactly, but we are going to look at what's happening, and the theme of today is all about the repeating patterns. Are we in the same situation that we've seen before? I'm going to show you an article first that refers to the dot-com bubble. And then towards the end, I'm going to show you another pattern which has emerged. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to cover the obvious, the basics, but I want to get into another layer of this onion we will peel back. But I wanted to start with the most obvious front and center. Wall Street parties like it's, in this case, 1998, as AI fuels gains unmatched since the dot-com era. You've seen what happened with cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin. Bitcoin went over 100,000. And usually what occurs in these is that, just like we've seen in previous patterns where Bitcoin goes first and then others follow behind it. That same pattern is going on right now. And it doesn't mean that it's going to follow the exact same pattern and that this happened exactly like that last time, so it's going to happen exactly like that this time. But you can see the S&P 500 is on track to close 2024 with a gain of nearly 27% after setting 50 record highs this year. Think about it. You're just compounding massively. We haven't seen this before. BlackRock, your friends at BlackRock, they said that this is the end to the boom and bust cycle. Where have we heard that before? Do you remember? Yes. In my reading many, many years ago, looking at all of those pages of history, 1929, we heard that exact thing. And of course, there's more to that story. You could see the S&P 500 performance is on track for its best back-to-back yearly performance since the late 1990s. Incredible. Interest rates poised to go lower. And of course, the rest of the world is basically on fire or down the drain. And so the United States becomes a very attractive, what's the term? But it is more attractive than the rest just by default. And so they do get into some issues. But what I'm trying to suggest to you is that what we're looking at this point here and the previous year is there have been incredible gains. AI, you have just general optimism for the markets, decreasing interest rates. These things start to add up and they've been performing better and better. If you look at the breadth, that's where things change. Breadth is basically a measurement of how many stocks are actually moving up and how many are not. And if you look at that, it shows us that, in fact, not all of the stock market is performing well. It's a handful of names carrying the market. You might ask, well, what kind of names are there? Well, of course, there's the Nvidias of the world. And there are the usual suspects, the big tech companies. Now, the problem with that is that when we find big tech companies or heavy concentrations occur, people tend to use this. Let's say they made their 10x on that particular stock. Big investors, not the ones who buy 7 shares, the big investors are there and they say, okay, we've made our 10x. We are now going to sell. They might sell a small position, a big position, or the entire position, depending on the circumstances. But they usually use that as an opportunity and they say, I've had enough. I think I'm going to, cut this position or whatever. While most of the people are saying, oh, I'm just going to pile on more and more and more. It's a very different view of how things work. So be careful and be mindful. I covered that in the Finance Friday session in depth. Why Americans aren't buying cars anymore. And I thought this was about the debt circumstance. I thought this was about the fact that the cost of these vehicles continues to rise. I thought it was because people are up to their, faces in debt, in all the expenses. But actually, it was all about the fact that people's personal habits are changing, their preferences are changing, and they're buying, what they call crossovers instead. But I wanted to focus on the debt. So I just made a few points there. We have this. Look at the price of, there's the agriculture food index. When I look at this, it's just one measurement because you can go to the grocery store and see some different prices. I go to the places where I can get the freshest stuff for the lowest cost. And so you have to know where to go and so on. But that's what I do. Certainly, I've seeked out, the right places for the stuff that I eat. And you should do the same. You shouldn't go to the place that's necessarily, oh, this is the one I've been going to for 20 years. No, you got to find the right place. Okay. And you will make a difference, in the circumstances. In 2020, I told people, lock in your energy prices. Lock them in. Lock them in. People told me that actually saved them. I told them to look into it, to make that phone call, to call their company, their provider, and say, look, I want to lock this rate in. They locked it in. The prices skyrocketed, and that difference in price saved them. I feel incredible about that. Okay? Doesn't always work because sometimes the price could go down. But in those cases, it was obvious what was going on. Okay? Consumer credit, monthly change. You could see what's happening. Look at this. This is the third biggest monthly jump on record for revolving credit. And you could see the interest rates on credit cards. Oh, by the way, they've gone higher. If it can even, I didn't even realize that could happen. But here we are above 23%. And that's average. That's just average. Okay. A lot of people are paying more than that. The debt problem is an issue. Cars, credit cards, housing, anything you could imagine. Buy now, pay later, all of that. So there's a fundamental problem, is what I'm trying to highlight to you. If you want to know more about the Finance Friday, why not just get in for free? How about that? One individual in the group is sponsoring you to be in every week. We have one person winning one free session. All right. And last week we did a special because there was 3 people because I couldn't get for the previous 3 weeks. This is how you get in and see the depth. The depth is unbelievable. We went like 2.5 hours last time. So we had 3 people on that one. It was fantastic. Good group of people that joined. And, I just can get into things much better. And like I'm saying, this is a giveaway. So you can get in that session, and I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you get something out of that. Hit the link in the description. There's a giveaway. You go in there and just, make sure you check your spam folder or anything if you don't see an email, okay? It's important. So get that link. Get on the Finance Friday. I'll see you there. Data centers are sending global electricity demand soaring. You've heard of this, I know. But what's happening is, twofold, in that we see electricity demand, and then we have this idea that AI is going to be in everything. We're being told that everybody's telling us this. Jeff Bezos recently just said this. Everybody's saying it, right? Well, we have a current problem, which is we don't have enough electricity to meet the demand. This comes up occasionally. And so we need to put AI in everything. It's a really, really energy intensive process. So how do we bridge the gap? Well, it's going to take a lot of investment. Where you see a lot of investment, cui bono, who stands to gain? It's not just the NVIDIAs of the world. So watch the money flow and you will see it for yourself. I cover that on the Finance Friday in depth. You can look at this. I'm very clear. I've been very clear about this over the last while, and you could see it for yourself. Okay, there's going to be this massive demand. Some companies are winning. Yes, of course, the Nvidias are doing very well to supply all the chips and things. But there are many others, a lot of other ways to play this, a lot of places that are going to be able to take advantage of this boom that's going on. So while some are going to be struggling, there's no question about it, there are others that are going to be doing really well. And so AI is one of these things that we're experiencing a boom in, and that is causing a lot of euphoria. Where else have we seen some euphoria? Can you believe it? NFTs hit $562 million in monthly sales volumes, recording a 6-month high. I don't like to see this at all. I don't like to see this at all because I would say, I don't have a number, but 99.9% of these NFTs are nonsense garbage. There are some, and I love the idea that there could be some sort of utility. For example, you buy a ticket, okay? You buy a ticket to a show, that there's an NFT associated with that, which confirms the authenticity. You buy a sports team jersey, there's an NFT that's corresponding. This confirms the authenticity. Fantastic. I love that. But a pixelated monkey is not a good thing. I don't care if it's limited. It's a pixelated monkey. And so that is coming up again. And the last time we saw this, we had some serious pain. It was felt first, of course, in the NFT market, then cryptos, Bitcoin, stock market, and everything was dealing with some issues after. This is the second repeating pattern. Not good. Okay, we need to let some steam off right now. It's worth. Look, be happy if you see markets coming down by 10%. That's a very good thing. If markets don't, very bad. So just keep an eye on that. I want to talk quickly about what's going on with tariffs. You got to understand this, okay? China is the main manufacturer of the world. You got to understand how dialed in China is. People say, you know what, you got to manufacture here or there, or I'll go, maybe they don't necessarily say, manufacture in the US. They'll say, do it in Vietnam or do it in India, do it in where. Have you dealt with these manufacturers? In China, things move much smoother. They have the entire process dialed in. If you ask them a certain question, they don't say, what's that? They understand the export market. They just have it dialed in. You make that request, it happens. When you need to change something, when you need alterations, no problem. Other countries generally they're just not there. Okay, so it can get there, but it takes time. If you want to manufacture in the United States, my goodness, yeah, you better have. If you are Tesla, if you are a company that has the power, Apple or whatever, you can do the entire thing. But if you are a small, medium-sized company, you just can't. You just can't, because you're not going to be able to do the entire thing. You can't go and build manufacturing plants. It's just not viable today because of everything that's happened. This is the problem. It is a big problem. And now with tariffs, look at this example. 25% US tariffs would bring Canadian unemployment to 8%. Check that out. And the dollar at 65 cents, 152 US to the Canadian dollar. All right. The loonie is just losing value rapidly. But anyway, that's what they're saying. We don't know if that's going to happen. But I want to make it clear, okay, right here, right now, in what's happening. People need to get wise to the circumstances. What am I doing? Look, I'm making US dollar. I'm getting in now to the UK, getting into other markets in Europe. They've got their own problems, but I still want to be exposed to them. Why? Because I can take my single product, or multiple products, and I can now expose them to different markets. I get geographical diversification and I get currency diversification. Okay. Of course, I'm still dealing with the United States, Canada, Mexico, but I'm also dealing with these other countries. That's very important. Look, if you want to know more about this website, by the way, where I have it hosted, they're going bankrupt or did go bankrupt. So at some point, this website's not going to work anymore. I got to build a new website. themoneygps.com/live. Find out more about this, okay? It is extremely important that you be aware of what I'm teaching here because I have looked into it in depth. And now you see me once a week. Look, you see these other guys who are putting out 2 videos a day and all this stuff. They're selling you all this stuff. Look, I know what I'm doing because I saw the writing on the wall years ago and realized I got to build a true online business that doesn't need my name behind it so that it can be sold. Okay, that's a whole different story. I want to see you at the very least, if you're not going to do that Finance Friday, get the giveaway. But if you're not going to do that, go to themoneygps.com/compass. It's totally free. Free stuff. I'll give you all the free stuff. Themoneygps.com/compass. Check it out. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And I'll see you next time. Take care.